Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Munoz, and this is Let's Get Deep. Today we have a great guest. We have Ralph Garcia. He is 26 and he's an army retired. He was actually homeless twice in his life, but now he's an entrepreneur and he's looking forward to change his life. Yeah, there you go. Now you can introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Garcia. I'm 26, like she said. I was ex-military. Now I'm an entrepreneur, pursuing this journey to, success. So I'm really glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me. And I'm like really excited to get this going. I know, one of these days, a lot of people are going to come back and watch this. So,
Yes.
um, yeah.
I'm so excited too. I mean, for when we already talked, I feel very inspired, to be honest. So I am looking forward to, seeing what else you have out there, like I haven't heard. So I mean, you told me that you went to the army and actually the infantry, and you kind of were like, that was kind of like your first step to like figure out what you wanted to do because you didn't know. You were like confused and lost, and that just seemed like the right thing to do. And then when you get out of it, you became homeless, and now you had to like figure out like, okay, what am I gonna do? And you had your dog, so it's like not only you had to care for yourself, but you had to care for somebody else somebody else that meant so much to you, because I mean your dog is family, and not only you had one, but you got two in that journey when you went down to Florida. So if you can tell us more about that, so maybe somebody might be in the same situation and kind of like learn.
Yeah.
You got
So honestly, the thing is, like in high school, I didn't find myself going anywhere. You could have the best grades in the world, but you're in a system. You're following a systematic plan to be able to have this credibility, saying now you have enough grades to do this and do that. But me, it was more along the lines of like you could have all the grades in the world, but my behavior wasn't acceptable. I didn't know who I was due to me having issues before when I was a child. I had to grow up faster. So I didn't have that luxury of when kids were kids, I got to be a kid. I had to grow up very quickly at an early age. And I didn't know, it started catching up late. So in the high school time frame, I didn't know how to be a high school kid. So then when I got into my 20s, I didn't know how to be an adult. You see what I'm saying? So for me, in high school, you can, again, you can have really good grades, you can do all the right things, but you still get lost in not knowing who you are. You get lost in wanting to be like somebody else. You get lost into following other people. And it comes to the point where, it takes a long time for us to find out who we are. And I didn't know who I was. I tried college first after high school because of my grades. I went to Ohio University, tried it for 2 semesters. I quit, just dropped out, went into the Army after I came back to New Hampshire. And then I did that for about three years. Then I tried to do school again at Southern New Hampshire, and I was just lazy. That wasn't for me. So, but I went into the military because, guys, I didn't know who I was. I was hoping that I can find it somewhere else. And I was hoping that, and I don't have any regrets. The military does really test your mind, right? And that's one of the key factors that I want to point out, that in life, you really have to test your mind. You have to test your heart. Because if you don't do either of those things, I'm telling you, you're going to be in a constant like trap of not being able to escape. So, I went into the military hoping I could find those answers, and I didn't. That's why I never re-signed my contract. So after that, I did have jobs and all this stuff, but I never finished my jobs. I never finished school. I just kept finding myself not having a right mindset to be able to have this adaptability that we are required to be able to survive. And, it got to the point where, my character got built up, and I learned how to be a man, and I learned these things, but I didn't learn who I was. And I think the lesson there is you can do all the things in the world, but you need to find who you are within yourself. And I think that just comes naturally from understanding your worth, your self-value, holding yourself accountable, right? Affirmations. And that's when I started getting into that, like after the military. But for anyone that's like in the military watching, or anybody that is in high school thinking about going to the military and you don't know who you are, it's definitely a good step, because the first step is testing your mindset. And there's no better way than testing your mindset than joining the U.S. military. So I think that's why I'm in a better position mentally after I got out, because now mentally I was okay, but like it wasn't where it should have been, if that makes any sense. So obviously, I went in there, tried to find who I was. It didn't happen. I tried to find who I was in school. Didn't happen. It's something you have to do yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, because it's like now you're forced to try something different. You already know how the worst that it can be. because it's like they really, because from what I heard, and I used to be in your RTC, so they kind of like put you into that mindset of like, this is how it's gonna be. Like shit is gonna be tough. You have to like do it no matter what. Like there's no giving up, you know. And I guess like in that sense, like it's really good because you know that kind of that little that I learned from that helped me kind of push. And like the fact that you actually went in there, you know, that's just like mind blowing to me because it's like you were there for you know for a while, for a few years. So yeah, you said like now you kind of like being homeless kind of was, you know, was tough, but it's like now it's like something that you were about to go to, but it's like since you already went through that, you already know how to kind of move around, you know, what your new situation was, because it's like damn, like they make me you know, get tough for a situation like this type of thing, you know. And that's kind of what they teach you to survive, and that's, you know, what
And it's very, yeah, it definitely does. It does teach you how to survive for sure. And I think another thing too is just the fact that I was just so sick of trying to find it in other things. It'd be a different story if I knew who I was and this is what I wanted to do, because then I would have did 20 years.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it just, you know, I feel like when you go and try to find things in other areas, there's nothing wrong with trying it. See if you can find out who you are. Maybe the military is for you. And then just, you know, you end up getting your answer. And that's the whole point of life, trial and error. You know, there's nothing, again, there's nothing wrong with the decisions that people make. You try it. If that doesn't work out, you know, and it's not like I quit. It's just like I didn't want to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And that was like the first time in my life where I had that choice. Right. Everything else, I quit jobs, school, you know, and this was the first time in my life I'm like, wow, like, you know, I finished this through. I want to go back to school. I did that. And, you know, at the, like, you know, 3-4 months before my contract, I asked if I could just leave or at least sign, you know, and it happened, you know, and it was the first time in my life where I felt like I had a little control, and I was, you know, thankful for those opportunities. But everything else, you know, I still didn't know who I was. And I think that is the point why I left, because I realized I'm not going to find myself here.
Yeah.
Right. And
Like in a way, sorry, in a way it's like going back to like that high school mindset with like you have to be like they make you be like symptomatic. I think that's the word, where it's like
yeah,
they put you into the sense of like it has to be this way, you can't think outside the box, like you aren't anybody but the person that we're telling you that you are, type of thing,
right.
you know. And
It's
so
really hard in that kind of environment to be able to find out who you are. I don't care who you are. People don't find themselves at 17.
yeah, exactly. Damn,
It doesn't.
that's crazy, honestly. Like so how do you, when after you got out of, you know, finally say, okay, I don't want to do this, I want to, you know, discover who I am, I have a little bit of control, now what's next? How you got to that? What was the next step after that?
So for me, I think everyone needs to have that wow moment, or that, wow, I'm done with this. I'm done living this way. And when people say you get activated and get emotional and like cry, like that was me. You will get to the point where you finally come to a realization that this is not okay anymore.
Mm.
This is not okay. And my haha moment, right? I was renting. All right, most people just don't know this. So everyone always looks at my Instagram, looks at my social media, think I was like always living the happiest life. And that's the thing about social media. And if I could be an example, it's like, no, like behind social media is an illusion. So the simple fact is, technically I was homeless. I was renting this room from a married couple who had 2 daughters. It was $200 a week. And I had my dog who was, can only stay inside his room when I was home versus, and then when I get home, we go for walks. But that's not fair to him. So, you know, over time, that just gets sickening. Like, who would want to just keep their dog in their room, especially a German Shepherd who needs to run and exercise and do all these things? And then I just kept coming home from working from Domino's at the time, because that's how I was paying for my car. And it was like, I just came home one day, I came up on my bed, and it's like 11, 12 o'clock because I closed that day on a Sunday or something, and I had to stay after. I remember getting home almost close to midnight, and my dog's there. He just pissed all over the bed because he couldn't hold it anymore, right? I wasn't home to be able to go take him out, and they weren't going to, you know, that dog is not anyone else's responsibility besides mine. And that, when I saw that, and then I saw how hungry he was when I poured the food, it's like, oh my God, like it really brought me to tears, because I'm like, this is just not okay anymore. And like I could barely even afford them with the pet insurance, with the dog food being $70. And most people don't realize how expensive good dog food can be. Because if I'm very picky. Like I know it's a dog and you're supposed to give them whatever, but German Shepherds need the proper nutrients. So $70 bags almost every 2 weeks. That's almost $140 a month plus my Banfield. Like it just came to the point where my ex at the time was very helpful, like financially. I don't want anyone to think I did everything by myself. I did have some help. I'm always thankful for those opportunities in those situations, right? You have to acknowledge that, if you had help, acknowledge the help, and when you're doing bad, acknowledge you're doing bad. But that was my moment. And then I remember I didn't have food. Like they would cook food, and then like almost in a sense like it was me eating leftovers, and it was just like I was just getting over it at that point. That was my like I literally got emotional. I'm like, what am I doing? And I started self-reflecting on everything that I'd done. So the bridges that I burnt, the people I took advantage of, like it all just ended up making sense and caught up to me, but being put in the position that I am, because I never, I never did the right things the way I was supposed to, or excuse me, I never did the things that I was supposed to the correct way. I burnt bridges. I really just like wasn't a good person. And I think that's when I came to my self-realization that like, wow, I am like literally just nothing.
Mm.
Right. And not to the point where like I'm beating myself up, but the point that is like, I always held myself thinking like, I'm this way, like this, you know what I mean? I just didn't have the right mindset. It was almost like me, like believing in my own lies. And I just came home that night and I'm like, I see the pee on the bed. I see him just hungry when I pour the food, and I'm like, I'm done. And literally in the middle of that night, it was a random Wednesday. I packed my duffel bag, couple clothes, took Zeke, went in my car, and I drove 27 hours down to Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Drove 27 hours down to Tampa. And like that was it. And then I ended up getting a good job with this company called Power. And I did that for a while, because, I ended up getting I'm fast forwarding because no one needs to really see the details of that, but it's just like moral of the stories. I saw that, drove to Tampa, got a new job. Right. And I was killing myself at that job, but I was doing it because I needed to survive and make money. Right. And sure enough, whether Corona's fake or not, like, let's just call it a flu. Right. I ended up getting the flu and they furloughed me with no pay because it was a door to door kind of thing. It was door to door sales, good money. But like, if you're going door to door and you're sick and coronavirus is around, so they furloughed me with no pay. 2 weeks, not one dime. And back in the same position. I got an apartment to pay for. I have 2 dogs now to pay for, and all these other things that I'm paying for all by myself. And, when they furloughed me with no pay and then said, hey, you can come back, we'll give you a paycheck 3 weeks after, like it'll be like you retraining. So I have to go 5 weeks without making any money. Yeah. I wasn't okay with that. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't. So I quit. That's where I became retired, right? Quote unquote. I'm done working for anybody because a company doesn't care about you. You are replaceable. Always remember that, because God forbid, if you don't have another resource of income and something happens to you, right, and they don't take care of you the way that you expected them to, there's no value there. If you're not going to value my time, I'm not going to value yours, right? And then I started reading more and more. So I think that's where it also helped me, because again, that moment that I got that corona, the flu, whatever you want to call it, right? I wasn't doing anything for 2 weeks, and then I just remember. I remember the stock market and foreign exchange market. I sacrificed the car payment. I did that. I did a lot of research. And then from the 2 week after they didn't pay me, that same Saturday, I've been doing it ever since. And that's when it also came to a ha-ha moment where like all these books, all these business owners that don't have college degrees, all these entrepreneurs that have these, $1 billion, companies, at one point they were in my position. Mm-hmm. And entrepreneurship is I think, where I belong. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at teaching people. I'm good at, teaching people how to have a good mindset, teaching people how to do affirmation. I think that this is the environment I belong in, and that's what it came down to. The day that, my dog peed all over that bed and, I cleaned it. And that same night I left. And I think my point to that story is everybody's going to have a moment where they come to a self-realization of what is not okay anymore. That's when you get activated. You could be 35, you could be 40. Hell, you could be 50 years old. You are done. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty about life. It doesn't matter when it comes. It's just, you need to get to that point where if your life is not where it should be, that should be your activation. That should be enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of this. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing about it is like you had like your dog were your inspiration. Like, you can see them right now, and consciously you have a reminder, like a constant reminder. It's like, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for us. And it's
Right.
like, that's, it's something that not a lot of people have, but it's like I mean, that's amazing, because it's like not only you get to see it, but your dog is able to show that affection back. It's like, I'm grateful for you, and just receiving that constant love, not only that reminder, but that love, it's inspiring, and like it moves you every day, like, okay, no, I'm doing this for you, like, I want you to be healthier, I want you to have a bigger place to run, I want you to do
Yeah.
more, like, and it's like, that's awesome that you got to that point, because actually, not too long ago, I finally realized, had that aha moment, like, fuck, this is fucking life. And that's when I was like, you know what, like, I'm really the one stopping myself. Like, I really thought I was like, oh God, I'm horrible at this and that and stuff. So I was really focusing on the negative things of my, like, the
Right.
negative trails of me. And then that's where I went wrong. For so long I tried to fix what I had wrong, and it's good to improve, but it's like, it's not good to focus too much on that, because that time that you're focusing on that, you're taking away from something that you can be improving, and that you're good at. Like, for example, like, just doing this, like, I love doing this, because like hearing your
Right.
story just kind of like it reminds me, like, wow, there's people out there that went through it, but look at them, like, they're so hopeful of the future, and they are going to succeed in the future. Like, it's not like, oh, maybe, no, they're
Right.
constantly, you're working every single day to get to the point that you want to get. It's not magic. It's no magic. You literally are staying determined and consistent every single day, because it's like,
Right.
now you have a goal. Your goal is to eventually not have to work for anybody anymore. Just have finally enjoy the life that you deserve. And the great thing about everything that happened is like, not only like you went through that, but you understand yourself more, because I mean, how you said you were a bad person before, and
I
that's
want.
something that a lot of people don't say. And like, I applaud you for that, because now people want to say that they were bad people, and because it's tough, like, like, you don't want to get into that, like, that sense of like, damn, I was really horrible, because like that kind of like makes you, it makes you feel uncomfortable, and no people don't like being comfortable. That's when you really get to like analyze, like, okay, like, let me see, okay, so what's really going on, like, who am I really am, like, do I really want to be a bad person, am I doing this consciously or unconsciously, like, am I really, is this coming out of my heart, or is it just coming out of situations, like, it might be me trying to survive, and that's like, that's kind of cool that you kind of went through every stage of life, where like you're like, okay, like, this is how things are going. And not only that, but you have a lot more to go, because you're only 26. It's like, this is only the beginning of something like even greater than you ever could expect, and I'm sorry, that's just amazing. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
very
'cause
like
I think so. I
inspired.
think some people tend to forget, right? Some people tend to forget that every single successful person has been in this kind of position. Every millionaire, every billionaire, all of them were sleeping on their friend's couch or had no money for years, right? And that's the sacrifice that you're making to be able to live the life that you know you deserve, like you said. But most people don't realize that all of these millionaires, all these billionaires, all these successful people, they all have a story. It's all comes to the same story. And people still don't realize that, they didn't just magically became, famous, or they didn't magically become rich just because of the way they look, or like, it's just not like you're just born and like now you are successful, right? It's a mindset, right? That there's 99% of people, right, in the business and trading and whatever, like 99% of like why businesses fail, right, is because you're lazy, right? You're fearful of whatever it is, because people are like making you believe you can't do that, right? So fearful. I have it's actually in my affirmation. So like, being greedy, fearful, insecure, and impatient, right? So you got to tell yourself, if you want to be that 1%, having that 1% successful mindset, you got to tell yourself, I will be patient. You got to tell yourself, I will be confident. I will be hardworking. I will be eager to learn, and I will be adaptable. And I think the biggest one here is I will be resilient, because when you have resilience, nothing can affect you. And that is telling yourself you're not going to let any external things affect you. So if someone dies, it doesn't affect you. You can act emotionally, you can have a response, but you're not going to let it take anything away from you, because you can't control a death in a family. You can't control, you getting sick. It's the situation you take it in. What are you going to do to make it turn out into a positive outcome? So when you're resilient, you understand that. You understand that, why am I going to get really mad? Why am I going to get really depressed when it's something that I cannot control?
Mm-hmm.
You can't control it. You shouldn't be worrying about it. right? Like it's the same concept in anything you do in a business. You can't control, right? Corona happening and your business is falling. Now you got to go get loans. Like you go through trials and errors, but it's going to be a test to you and your character, right? So when you're resilient, nothing affects you. And I think it's really important that people tell them themselves, or excuse me, tell them to themselves, like in a mirror over and over and over again, that you are resilient, you are hardworking, you're eager to learn, right? You will be patient, right? You will be confident. Because when you're confident, you're patient, right? God tells us if you're patient, humble, and selfless, he shall lead us to our reward. Whether you believe in God or not, that's just something that is applied in everyday life. That is a value that people don't realize, that when you are patient, when you are humble, and you are selfless being successful and giving this information out to people for free on how to become successful. Because I don't agree, like as an entrepreneur, people tend to forget that entrepreneurship is working for free. My business is my business, and I'm making money doing, trading, right? That's how I make my income. But being selfless is if someone came up to me, right, and they asked me, how did you become successful? Some people charge thousands of dollars to give them a game plan, affirmations, and like teaching them how to have a mindset, taking them under their wing, right? Because me being an independent business owner, we do have to charge people to come into the company to learn how to trade from an educational program, right? But outside of that, right, there's mentors out there that will charge you thousands and thousands of dollars just to hear them for a couple of hours, right? So I feel like if you're selfless, you'll continue to have success, because we see people that are successful end up killing themselves, or it's people that are successful not happy, going through divorces, and you wonder why. Were you patient, humble, and selfless? If you're not, you're going to come down to your downfall. So those are like the three rules I follow to the T, and I'm telling you, my life has become slowly over time way better. I'm still going through struggles. There's things that happen to me still to this day, but I'm in a better mindset to where like I can handle things more, appropriately in a more positive manner. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And so what would you say it's something that can push somebody, like if they were in the same situation, and even though like they remind themselves but they can't yet believe it, because a lot of people is like they try everything, but it's like, again, like they don't believe it. And that's when do you realize that you were believing what you were saying, not only like, oh, I'm faking it, until I make it? Like when was like the moment where you're like, like even like for not use your life situation, like economically and stuff, financially, but in the sense of like self-worth, like when you said like, oh, like I need to keep pushing, like because I am that person,
Because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because you have two options, right? You have two options in life when you get to your moment where, if you already self-realize that you don't want this anymore, and it's like, how can I stay consistent? How can I make sure that, because it's easier said than done, but how do I do it? It comes down to the point of you need to find things that make you happy. That is the first thing you need to do. What makes you happy? Do you like to run? Do you like to cook? Do you like art? Do you like reading? Do you like all of that? Then do those things, right? Because a lot of us try to get to, faking it until you make it is almost in the sense of hoping that success comes. You can't, in success, you can't hope it's going to come to you. You have to make an action. You have to do something about it. That's why they say, don't talk about it, be about it, right? Your actions speak louder than words. So once you're done talking about it and you start just following through actions, and you stop posting fake things all the time to make yourself look better, or whatever the case is, you're slowly progressing to the point where you want to be. It starts with doing things that make you happy. That's the first thing you need to do. Because if you surround yourself around toxicity and people that aren't, in the same mindset as you, right, in a sense that can really hurt you. Yeah. Right. I can only point to like 3-4 people right now in my life that I still keep around, close to 4 out of thousands of people I've met in my life. I have 4 people that are in the same mindset as me right now, and not counting the business I'm in, because obviously everyone in the business, right, in a sense, we're all competitors because we all want people to come under us. We want people to learn from us specifically. But at the same time, we're in an environment where all of us think the same. And so I consider them like a family, right? And I don't even know half of them, but that's a family. Why? Because they're in the same mindset as me. We all want the same thing. We're doing things differently, but trying to get to the same, result. But when it comes down to telling people what to do to be able, they're trying and they're failing, you got to start, first of all, slow down, right? Slow down. And your goals have to be in short increments. Right. I read this post the other day that I shared on my Instagram. It was literally like 6 figures are actually, easier than you think. You sell a product $5 55 times. You sell a product $10 28 times. And then like, there's just some examples of that. Like you just create these small goals, right, that add up to your outcome. But when we start trying to set unrealistic goals for ourselves, and I say unrealistic because, for example, people will come into a business of trading as an example and think they can turn $20 into $200,000 or $20,000 in a week. That's not realistic. Set realistic standards for yourself, right? Because life is still life, right? Don't try to cheat yourself out. Like that's where the concept of staying in your lane is. Like you stay in your lane in your journey. If you try to get out of that lane, what's going to happen, right? You're going to fall off. You're going to be behind. And it's the same concept when you're on a highway and you're speeding and I'm going 55 like I'm supposed to, right? I have no reason to go over. Let's say the speed limit is 60 and you see people flying down 80. The 20 mile per hour on a highway is not going to look different. And what do you think is going to happen to that person that's flying by? The cop pulls them over. The cop catches them. Me, I'm sitting there cruising and guess what? I just passed you. And I think that is something that I like to put in perspective and use an analogy for, because think about that for a second. He just got stopped by the cop and I continued going on my lane, going the speeding, not going to my destination, trying to rush it. And I just passed him. See what I'm saying? So if you put that into perspective in life, you know what I mean? The first thing is finding things that make you happy. The second thing is making sure you're setting slow, consistent, realistic goals for yourself and you monitor that progress. Because when you can see on paper, or you can see just in general, physically see your progress moving, now you're like, okay, this does work. Wow. And then guess what happens? Once you finish your first goal, the accomplishment to yourself, you move on to the next goal. Always set daily goals, always set weekly goals, always set monthly goals for yourself. Whether it's you, how can I be the first thing you need to ask yourself every day too is, how can I become a better me tomorrow? What did I do yesterday to become a better me today? Right? Those two have to intertwine with each other. And that's an everyday thing. It's not like, oh, what can I do today to become better tomorrow? Go give a homeless guy some money and then not do anything for weeks and think that was a blessing. No, you got to stay consistent and do all the right things that you're supposed to be doing. But first step, find the things and do the things that make you happy. The second step and the third step, I guess you can flip flop, because you have to, in general, staying consistent, but also making sure that now you're cutting off everybody, right, that is not bringing value to your life. If you're going out with your friends and you're the one always spending the money, right, you got to look at that as like, wow, they know that you're humble enough to do that. But what if that one day you go out and they're expecting you to pay, but you don't? And then now there's it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stay away from the people that don't want the same things as you, right? Because if you have friends or if you have family, they should want the same things as you, or they should want the same thing for yourself. If you don't have those people around you, they can cut off. I don't care if it's your mother, if it's your uncle, if it's your father, if it's your cousin, right? It comes down to, if you don't want to believe in me, right, and I ended up successful, 9 times out of 10, we always see those people reaching out with a hand. Like, oh, I knew you could do it and stuff like that. Like, and there's nothing wrong, because I know sometimes people, like family and friends, do that because they're fearful. They don't think or believe in what you can do because they know they can't do it. So they put their fears in you. If anyone reads Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's written by Robert Kiyosaki. All right. It's a really good book. I literally recommend everyone to listen to that, or excuse me, read it. It's also a free audio book online, but I would buy the book, right, and actually read it and get your own perspective, because that's the point of reading, right? You want to read it and have your own perspective instead of, you know, listening to the man speaking about it. But in the book, just quick example, he talks about how, you know, if you know, like I said, he throws out an example. So when he quit a job, they gave him a $30,000 paycheck. That was a blessing, you know, in a disguise. It was taxable, whatever. He said he's going to quit. He's going to go pursue entrepreneurship, right? And this guy, John, who was his coworker, he said, you'll be back. He was the one that gave him the check. He's like, you'll be back. You know, I left once and, you know, I ended up coming back to this company. And the way he responded was, yeah, you came back. It doesn't mean I'm going to. He's like, you will never see me again here. Right. And I think that's one of the most powerful thing I read in that book, is because it's so true. People will literally say it's not going to work. It's going to fail. This is not going to happen. You have to realize that every successful person has been told that at least once in their life. Now, when it comes to friends and family, again, I know it's unconditional love, but you would have to isolate yourself from them and cut them off and get yourself in the position where you need to be, because you don't need people to tell you it's not going to work. You don't need those kind of, you know, vibes in your life. It doesn't matter if they're friends or family or if it's unconditional love. You don't need it. Right. And it comes down to a point, if you guys watch Jay-Z's like most recent interview, he talks about how his uncle told him that he wasn't gonna sell 1 million records. He wasn't gonna do any of this stuff because his uncle, you know, knows that he can't do it. So he's trying to put his fears in his own nephew, right, that wants to pursue music. And look what Jay-Z is. He's a billionaire now. He owns the New York Nets, or the Brooklyn Nets. And it's like, it's just crazy to me, and I think it starts again, cutting that those people off that don't believe in the same things as you. It's 3 easy steps. You
Yeah.
do the things that make you happy, you cut those people off, and you stay consistent. Stay consistent and stay at your speed. Don't try to go ahead. Don't try to cheat the system, because you're going to fail, right? And there's going to be many failures, but if you're failing the wrong way, does it really count as a failure, or does it really count as you not staying consistent and you staying on your blueprint to being a successful person, right? And most people think success has to be $1 million. That's not true. If you put yourself in a position to where now you are happy, I think that is the most successful thing anyone can do. It doesn't matter how much money you make, right? Sure, I give people an option to have another stream of income, but at the end of the day, if you are in a happy environment, right, and you work so hard to get yourself into a good mindset, right, your heart is good, your mind is good, you're intertwined with the things that make you happy. There's no more toxic people in your life. It doesn't matter how much money you make. As long as you're in the right mindset and the right state of mind, you're already successful. And I think that's where people don't understand what success comes from. Now, to make the money is more along the terminology of being wealthy. To be wealthy, you need to know how to multiply your income, right? But like, to be successful in your own way is just being happy. I think everyone's goal is to be happy and find out who they are. And there's nothing more powerful than that. There's no money in the world, right? No money in the world that if I'm stuck making 10K a month, then I'm stuck making 10K a month. I know that's enough to survive, pay my bills, and be comfortable. Or $20,000 a year. People don't realize that, right? But at the end of the day, I can make 120,000 a year, right? And if I have a mentor or someone that's making millions a year, but we're both still in a good position in happiness, and we're fine, we're good. We put ourselves in a position to where we're happy and nothing can, affect us. I think there's nothing more powerful than that. And I think people lose the grasp that they think that success is, or being successful in themselves has to deal with being wealthy. Being successful in yourself leads to that wealthiness. You know what I mean? And it's hard to believe, because some people would disagree with that, be like, no, successful is money, successful. No, like, I'm talking about being successful in you. You need to believe that you're going to be successful. You need to believe that you yourself are in a good position to where, nothing can affect you. That is successful. That is successful. That is a successful mindset that you need to put yourself in before you can even, think even further, right? If you're successful in yourself, then the wealth will come. But how are you going to become wealthy if you don't understand yourself yet? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's, again, there's people that are successful, like, money wise and rich and stuff, but there's some people that don't know themselves yet. You see it all the time. We see like Demi Lovato was like, bring that up because if you like, everyone has a story. If you listen to Demi Lovato's one of her interviews, she was struggling with thinking that she's been too fat for years. She had an eating disorder. She was doing drugs. She was doing all these things. And guess what? She was successful, right? No, she wasn't, because she didn't know who she was. She thought she had and now she is who she is. She's very, like, if you want to follow a woman figure, go follow Demi Lovato's account. I do. I'm a guy, but her story is incredible. She had a real issue, a real problem, and she was successful. She was in Disney. She did all these things, but she still wasn't successful in who she was. She wasn't comfortable with her figure. She wasn't comfortable with who she was. So she's really successful? No, doesn't matter all the money in the world until you are successful. And now look what she's doing. Now she's empowering other women who feel the same way. Now, guess what? That leads to companies coming to her. That leads to her becoming more wealthy. She doesn't even have to sing anymore if she doesn't want to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we really got to start paying attention, really, because you could be successful, but are you really? You know what I mean? Like, you got to really be successful in yourself first. And I think that's really important.
That's true. Because I actually, this is a great thing about reading, because like, because you read that book, you kind of have a better understanding of that. And like, from other books that I have read, like, that's kind of like the main thing. It's like, understand yourself, take time for yourself, because you have to see, like, because it's like, we get so overwhelmed by everything, like, even by like the input of our family, but sometimes it's like, the reason why they're doing it, how you say, it's out of heart. Like, they want to help you. They don't want you to take a risk that's gonna like affect your life to the long run, because they don't see that. They don't, how you say, like, they don't think that they can do it, and so they think that you can't do it either, because it's like, they don't understand the drive that you have, that you, like you said, like, this is like something that you are passionate about, and you've been doing it for a while, and like, other people might say, oh no, this is not the right thing, but it's just the right thing for you, and like, there's other people that feel the same way, and it's the right thing for them. It's like, there's not a specific way of success, but like, the one that works best for you. And then
Exactly. Everyone can do things differently. It ends up the same result.
Yeah, because I mean, that who's really says like life is supposed to be a certain way? Who says
Right.
happiness is that, or that success is that? Because again, like a lot of the books that I read, like they kind of focus on like self. You know, it was like know yourself. Like at some point, it was even like it was business or even like just like social media and stuff like that. Like all those big, they literally say you have to understand who you are. You have to see like where what is success for you and not get distracted by like the other things that you know that you see out there, because again, if you're not happy, you're not successful, because if you're not happy, then you're not going to continue, you're not going to progress, you're not going to improve, you're not going to take more risks, you know. And that's why I said, like I said, this shows that even like even just people that they don't succeed as much because they don't take as much risk, like they don't believe in themselves and they're not willing to give that extra time or that extra work just so they can do more, because they don't, you know, they don't think that they can do it, and then that's what people be telling it, so they settle with that sense of like, okay, I'm staying right here. Like how they said the story of the guy, like the guy, because he fell, he thinks that there's no other way, because he only, you know, if he's successful, like he's mine, he's like, okay, I'm good, like, you know, like if I can do it, he can do it, type of thing. But again, like that maybe working there for him was the perfect thing, like it just something that make him happy and everything, but for the other person it's not. And you know, going back to the Demi Lovato situation, like I think that's something that we should like, yeah, like that's really a really a great example, because it is a like it kind of makes you wake up, because again, like for a long time, like, you know, we kind of look at her like we grew up, you know, like watching her, type of thing, and that's why we can relate to her in like in the sense of like we can understand like, okay, like I was a kid when she was a kid, you know, I kind of see like how she became successful and all this stuff. But understanding the truth behind it, it, you know, it moves you, because not only you think, oh, this is like the perfect, like, you know, the great girl that, you know, we laugh at and like we make fun of because she was so, you know, looked funny acting and stuff. You know, she was going through all this stuff, and she was just trying to keep um she was just putting a mask on every single day to make sure she could, like, you know, be successful financially, but never you know, emotionally. And that's where it went wrong. And when she finally decided, like, hey, like she had that wow moment, you know, like, hey, like I'm not happy, like what am I really doing, you know? It's like, is this what I want other people to feel like, you know, they feeling sad, you know, behind the seat, the curtain, and then, you know, they pretend to be happy. It's like that's not what I want to, like, people, I don't want people to go through the same situation. So, you know, she changed the way she was advertising, you know, and not advertising, but sharing her life. She's not longer faking it. She's saying like, who, this is how it is, you know, shit is gonna be hard. You're gonna have like emotional breakdowns, but that's okay, because that's part of it, you know, until you get to those moments, situations, like you're like, fuck, like I hate this. I hate my life right now. But it's okay, because I will get better. You know, I can overcome this. She never like killed herself. I mean, she did harm herself several times, but that didn't stop her. You know, thankfully, she had that willpower to say, okay, I know like I'm hurting myself, but I know that I don't deserve to kill myself. And that's, you know, that in see it's very powerful, because, you know, there are a lot of people, they don't have that, you know, that willpower that stopped them for like, okay, don't go too far, you know. So and now she doesn't have to do that, because she's happy with herself. She's like, you know what, I'm beautiful, and I want other people to feel how beautiful I feel, you know, because she wants other people to feel the same way, and she wants people to do other things. So I mean, it is just kind of crazy, because again, like we might have this vision of like she's successful, she's doing great. In reality, she wasn't at all. You know, all that money was nothing. I mean, if she was about to like, she was harming herself, shows that all that money meant nothing. All her friends, you know, like her doing drugs and like losing control, like messing her reputation, and like it's like it doesn't even matter like her reputation, but like that was affecting her. But again, like how you say, like now that she's being herself, she's happy, she's being successful and wealthy, because now she's multiplying, you know, all that money or that success, you know, because now she's reaching out to more people. I was actually listening to the radio station the other day, and they were talking about, you know, suicidal prevention and all stuff, and then they mentioned her, and she was like saying like, hey, like things are tough, you know, but like when you like believe in yourself, when you know that you're worth living and worth being who you are, like life makes sense, you know. And that's where you have to, you know, come with that realization. You have to keep going, because everything, how you said before, there's things that you're not gonna control, and that's where you have to detach yourself from like everything else. Like somebody dying, it's like, damn, that's sad, cry it out. Like a person probably meant a lot, but don't let that stop you from like continuing succeeding in life. When it comes to like happiness, enjoy the people that are alive, and so what you can say, like, at least I had a great time with them, and I make sure to show them how much I love them and I appreciate them, every single time. So it's like you don't have to, when they die, you don't have to regret anything, because it's like every person holds a part in your life, and they all teach you something. And it's like that person that died probably wanted you to be happy, probably want you to keep pushing your dream, going towards your dreams and achieving it, like achieving it. And it's like, do you have to just attach yourself to like from like everything else, so that way you can like attach yourself to yourself, because at the end of the day, you are that you literally you're born alone, you die alone. But and like thanks for the we're able to share moments with people throughout our journey. But in the day, the only thing that matters is how you feel with yourself and how you're willing to like keep going, because life is hard. Like, I mean, like you went through different situations, and every one of them taught you like make you feel uncomfortable. That way you can like, okay, let me see where things are not going right, or where am I in this picture, like what am I doing, and that, I mean, that's just crazy to me. Like, again, like, because it's like a lot of us go through situations that we are not even aware. Like, I would never expect you to go through all this stuff, but like look at you, like you're optimistic of the future, you're happy,
Right.
you're going like you're now you have a place where your dogs are happy, you can go and walk them around and just spend the day with them and stuff. And it's just like that's just the happiness that that you want. But and not only that, but that doesn't even stop you. That makes you, that pushes you to keep going, because it's like, I'm happy, so I'm willing to do more because I like this. I can give a little, I can push a little bit more because I have that energy, I have that motivation. I
True.
feel. Yeah.
Never get uncomfortable ever, because
Yes.
if you're not prepared to be uncomfortable, you're not prepared to succeed. And another thing, to your point, is like, it's very true, right? It's like life is hard. If life was easy, everyone would be better off, and people don't understand that concept. Like, if everything was so easy to do, then the world wouldn't be hurting the way it is,
Yeah.
right? And I think we have to look at it as like when you plant a tree or you're planting fruit, right? It's underneath earth. Earth is pressured. It's pressured. The freaking fruit in the tree has to go through pressure before it really grows and flourishes and turns into this big, strong, beautiful thing, giving us oxygen, or this delicious fruit that's giving you natural sugars and it tastes so good. You waited for that fruit. You waited for the fruit to finally take that juicy bite. And look how beautiful trees grow and the seasons and all that. Like, it at one point, that tree was underneath earth. Now look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's grown, it's strong. If there's anything we can learn, it's knowing that things take time in life, right? Planting a tree, your fruit, you should treat it just the same way, as from the moment that you're born to the day that you don't know when you're going to die. And that's the beauty about it. Do whatever you want to do, because at one point you have an expiration date.
Yeah.
You have an expiration date that should push you to being like, I want to do more. I want better for myself, right? And those things will come. Trust me. I'm only 26. I have a long life to live for as far as I know, right? I don't know when my time's up. I have a long life to live. That's how we need to think. You could be 50. I have a long life to live. I'm 30. I have a long life to live. Doesn't matter how you look at it. You don't know when your expiration date is.
Yeah.
That's why you have to treat life as such. Go through those pressures, right? Let life pressure you. It's only going to allow you to grow into that big, strong tree, that nice, juicy fruit, and it starts with a mindset. It really
Yeah.
does.
Again, like, again, that's literally it. Like, just change your mindset so you can like be better and do better and just be happier. Because until you change, like, your mind is, you're stronger than, like, your body is so much stronger than your mind sometimes. And it, like, when you train your mind to be as strong as your body, then it's like it's another level. Because it's like, even like when you're doing reps, sometimes you're like, I can't do this, I can't do this, and your body's just like, dude, I took that creatine, I'm good, like, I can do another rep, what are you talking about? And you're like, no, 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 and you stop yourself. But reality is like, you deep down, you can push a little bit more, and that goes with any situation. It's like, the other
Mm.
day I ran, and I was like, I told myself, it was so funny because I ran 2.56 miles in 27 minutes. at 27 minutes and 44 seconds. And then that day that I was talking to a friend, I was like, you know what? I knew I could push more. I am pretty sure I could have, make that into like 3 miles, right? So unconsciously, I wake up early and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm getting a protein shake and everything. And I ran, and then I ran 3.16 miles in 28 minutes. So literally a minute different, like a few seconds, and I did even more. And it was because this time, the other day when I like the second time I ran, I told myself, you know what, you can do better. You used to be an athlete, what? You're great. Like you're doing great. You're eating healthy. I was literally talking to myself as I was running. I was like, I got this.
You have
It's amazing. Like this beautiful weather. Like what? I had to make sure I make the best out of it. And I was watching people walking. And then this one lady was like, "Yay!" And it was so funny because I was like, that literally pushed me to do 50 more miles, like just faster. Like I sprint that. I was like, I'm not stopping. Like no, I can't let myself down. Like no, it was just so inspiring moment because that in that right second I was like, wow, what else am I telling myself? Like what else can I take the same motivation and use it, to my advantage? Like what else can I study a little bit more? Sometimes when you're at night, you're like, oh, I can't do this. I'm too tired. So, but it's like, how many times have you gone to the club and stay until 6 a.m. in the morning? And you're like, look, this.
an example all the time.
Oh, exactly. So it's like it's so crazy because it's like, what's the difference? Like over there, you're literally with alcohol in your body, so you're tired. You're literally fighting that tiredness even more because it's like you're dancing, you're
Yeah.
doing all this stuff. It's like you might think you wouldn't be able to do that during that moment, but what makes a difference when you're like at home? Like you haven't done much throughout the day, so it's like you have that energy. So what's really stopping you? Like
People, as human beings, we like to find escapes. Like when people say, oh, I can't afford to do this business, or because if it's a business, I'm talking about like if it's a business you want to do, or if it's something you want to do, people are like, oh, I don't have money to do it. Yes, you do. You got to make sacrifices. I sacrificed 2 car payments to be able to go to this IML academy that I'm now in to teach myself, right, how to make more money.
mm,
I 2 car payments. That's what I did. Because guess what? I value myself. I value, right? I see the value in this. I see where this is going to take me, right? And I think people need to understand that everything you do is an excuse, right?
yeah.
To escape from what you really want to accomplish. People will go out and drink, spend $80 a week on drinking, Taco Tuesday every single week. Now that's become a holiday. So you're spending, and this is lowballing it. So let's say 20 bucks, going out $80 on the weekends. So now that's already $100. And at least 2 times a week, the average person on average goes more than what I'm going to say, but at least 2 times you eat 2 times, right? Out. That if you're a couple, that could be 60 bucks. That could be 30 bucks. Right. But let's lowball it even more, 30 bucks. So now you got 20 and 30, that's 50. And then you got 50 plus 80. You're spending that almost every single week, right? Taco Tuesday, 2 times out, every weekend going out, right? With your friends, girlfriends, whatever. For a whole month, that's $740. But you just told me you couldn't afford, right? People that want to learn how to trade, they say, and this is just an example. They say, oh yeah, I want to trade, I can do it. They're spending $740 a month, lowballing it, because that's not counting Netflix, that's not counting Hulu, that's not counting you buying clothes, that's not you buying an $800 PlayStation, that's not counting you in your, you see what I'm saying? But $740 a month just for you to think you're enjoying your time. You're subtracting so much money you don't even realize it. $740 a month roughly. You're not even looking at that. You're not even paying attention to that. And to learn how to trade in the foreign exchange market, and you just told me you want to learn how to do it, it's $170 a month. You're spending almost 300% more than you going out on the weekends. Spending way more doing that than learning how to sit down in front of your computer and multiply your income.
Yeah.
Or go start your own business. You know how, if you did 700, and I'll do the math out because I don't know what this math is, but like, for example, like if you do $740 a month, you want to multiply your income, think about that number and put it in your bank account. You're already spending it. So put it in your savings account, right? Just, you're checking, you tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna go out this weekend. No, take that money you thought you were about to spend, add that money and put it right into your savings. Train yourself to do these things, because $740 a month times a year, right, is $8,880 you could have in your savings account, telling yourself, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Put that money in. 8,000 bucks. You just multiplied your income without even blinking in 1 year. A year is nothing. 12 months is nothing. And this is one of those things I teach people, right? This is free information too. Like, and you do that for 5 years, $44,000. Putting 740 a month for one whole year for 5 years gives you $44,400. Guess what you can do with that money? Start a business. You waited 5 years. You worked hard. You told yourself, I'm going to isolate. I'm going to really zone in. Everything that I think I'm about to spend money on, I'll put on my savings. People are wondering, how the hell did I do some of the things that I've been doing? Mm-hmm. Because while I was learning how to trade, I got to the point where I was putting money in my savings account so I could reinvest, sacrificing a car payment. Because that right there is like me saying, because I didn't do this for 5 years. I did it for a couple months. And I was like, I'm not paying my car for these 2 months. I want to get to the position where, like, right before they take it, I go feel better and just pay the $12,000 on the car. That's my goal next month. Just pay for my car. I don't owe the bank shit anymore. Excuse my language, but seriously, if you're in the position where now you're constantly taking loans for a car, that car's not yours. Car's the bank for the next 6 years of your life. It belongs to the bank. Miss 3 payments in a row, it's gone. It's not yours, right? And some people get so, like, save up money and go buy a car. There's hundreds and thousands of cars out there that can get you to point A to point B for $2,000, and it's yours. We go to these banks, buy these luxurious cars, and we end up can't afford it. We go out and we go buy a house that we can't afford, right? And I think if people realize that if you have $44,400 after 5 years, right? And this is just an example. Now we're just like talking for fun. Like, money is fun to me. You have $44,000. You go find a foreclosed home for $12,000, buy the property, rent it out to somebody. The rent from that property now pays for your rent where you live. Guess what? Fast forward another year, because 34,000 plus 8,000, you go buy another property for the same price. So you're hovering around the same 40 grand, right? Because you waited another year, that's another $8,000. You go and purchase a bigger property, get more. Now your rent's paid for it, and now you got residual income. Fast forward a year. So now if you're getting $1,700 a month from somebody on a house, right, that was foreclosed, that you bought cheap as hell, that $1,700 a month times 12, now you're getting residual. Now you're getting almost $20,000 a year, I think, right? 1,700 times a year, it's 20,000. Now you're getting 20,000 off one property. But people don't want to put that money in perspective. Like, that was just a quick free information. I literally teach people how to manage their money. I know I've always been awful at it, but you'd be surprised what I'm able to do with $20, $30 now in the market. Be surprised. I'll tell you right now, we're not supposed to do this because it's like giving out our W-2s, but I made $5,000 in the last 12 days. Nobody does that. I don't post that. I always post my losses. I'm like, look, my first 2 weeks lost 1,000, but look, now I'm in a position where my rent was behind and I just paid that. I got nothing due to November. And I share that with people because it's like, that's what happens when you set short goals and stay consistent and use the resources around you, right? And just people, that's just like a quick little lesson thing. And I don't mean to boast, but literally that's what happens when you're consistent. That's what happens when you're patient, humble, and selfless. You'll get your reward.
Yeah.
That money that I made, sure, went to bills, but guess what? Now I got a whole month to make money to myself, right? But if you follow like that plan, there's some people that already have $8,000 in their account. Every time you think Taco Tuesday, $60 account, right? Delete Hulu, delete Netflix, go get a book, right? Now you don't need to watch TV because guess what? There's free TV on YouTube. You can literally type free movies on YouTube. You can type free movies, this, and that, and find it on the internet. Why are you paying for Netflix and Hulu? Mm-hmm. If you really want to, buy something that's yours. Stop paying other companies for stuff that's not yours. You want to go watch The Office, all 8 seasons, 11, 13 seasons, whatever it is, go buy it. $30, boom, you're done, okay? Don't keep paying monthly for the things that you don't need anymore. And I think people don't realize that, don't understand that you have to cut out all those expenses and put it into your savings account if you don't want to trade. Because guess what? Putting money in your savings account is, in a way, a multiplier. And there's hundreds of examples I can give, but like, seriously, well, that's what happens when you're patient. You waited 5 years, right? 40 grand out of nowhere, slowly built up. Sure, you'll have emergencies, things will happen, but like, that's money that you should be, that's a point of savings. If you have 740 to spend going out per week, or per month, you could put that money in your savings account. Mm-hmm. You got to think that way. If I could spend 740 a month, I can put 740 in my savings. But then people are lazy. They want to go out and drink with their friends. They want to go smoke. They want to get lost in Netflix. They want to play PlayStation for hours. They want to do all these things. It's a poor mindset. And when I say poor mindset, you can have $1 million. Right? You have $1 million. But once you say you're comfortable and now you're spending money, like, think about it. The more money you make, the more luxurious you want to be. And that comes with a price tag. So that $1 million, now you're theoretically, all that stuff you're buying, $1 million a year. Now you're only making probably $100,000 to $200,000 a year because of the lifestyle you live. Not even counting the other big purchases you're going to probably pay. Now you're only a 6-figure earner at that point, almost less. People don't realize that concept. Seriously. And sure, I know if you have $1 million, but if you're comfortable, which those people exist, literally that $1 million is getting decreased because of all the things they're doing, all the traveling, all the nonsense. But the real people that you see with like a shirt like this, jeans, shitty ass little shoes and stuff, and just like dress up in like little like colorful t-shirts. Like Gary Vee, he literally looks like a bum every day, right? He's a billionaire,
Yeah.
freaking billionaire. He sells wine, and then he has all these businesses and stuff like that. Billionaire, dresses really hobo-ish, like really just like a regular t-shirt, some shorts, some pants. He's comfortable, whatever shoes he feels like wearing. His hair is always messy. Those are the people you need to watch. Not the people that, oh, I just bought a mansion, I just bought this car, I bought another car, I bought another car, I bought another mansion. I don't give a shit about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you don't need to live your life that way, because some people are poor. So when they, right, most people are poor or middle class, and when they get themselves into a really good position financially, they don't know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
They're not managing their money correctly. Now they're just throwing money. You know, so it's like guys in general, like they'll once they're rich, they'll go try to like message an Instagram model and like throw money at her and like do, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just the wrong mindset, because guess what? Once you start thinking that way in those positions, you're gonna go back. You're gonna go backwards. And bring that up because people, you know, it is a mindset. No matter where you are in life, you could be a millionaire or you could have $5 to your account. If your mindset's good, you will be okay. Yeah. If your mindset's bad, you're gonna lose that $5. You're gonna lose that million. People don't realize like those people exist.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like,
I'm on a tangent there, but it's like I really.
That's great. I think the same way. It's just a lot of people don't understand that because they're not exposed to that, or they haven't got to the moment or the situation where they're forced to understand that, you know. And that's like where, I mean, I'm good. Like, I'm glad that you're saying all this stuff, because it's like somebody else might hear and be like, okay, like, fuck, like this is what I need to hear, you know. Because in a way, it's like I understood that like through YouTube videos. You know, I was watching like people talking about it, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because it's like you have to always listen to things in an open mind, you know, because it's like that's how you are fully able to listen to it, because you can hear something, but if you listen to it, it's a whole different thing, you know, because it's like that's where you can understand, like, okay, like maybe let me see where this person is talking and seeing if I can, like, it does fit, or I do, you know, it makes sense to me, because like again, everybody has different lifestyles and stuff. But I do agree, like, they, you know, that's how it is. Like, if you have money to be spending it out there, just like on shoes for $200, you have money to save on in your savings, or, you know, because eventually all that money you're saving, you're investing it, you know, because the bank give you money for having money in your bank. Basically, it's not much, but eventually if you have a good amount of money, it does, and then you can use that and then increase your credit, and then, you know, eventually buy the house that you thought you couldn't get, and that you were paying rent for so long, you know. So it's still a perspective. Yeah,
it's literally a 5-year plan that people don't realize.
mm-hmm.
740 a month, 40,000 in 5 years. Yeah. It adds up. 5 years is nothing. You can do this in college. Take your grants that you're getting. Don't spend it on all that dumb shit going out, spending money, like, right? Because Thirsty Thursdays, all this other stuff was going on in school. And imagine if I knew this information sooner. You know how much money I got to go to SNU from the military? Imagine I took that every semester and threw it into my account. I could have got it out of SNU, and I could have started getting into properties, real estate, and stuff like that. That was 1 year, or 2 years, of that before I left. And you know what I mean? It's like, imagine 2 years, $16K. You could do a lot with $16,000, believe it or not. But imagine if I continue that. 5 years is nothing. People in college that are freshmen, there you go. Take the 4 years, take whatever grants you need, and every time you tell yourself you're about to spend that money, take it and put it into your savings account. Literally transfer that money you're about to spend and put it in. Become a better you, so you can financially become free. The goal is to be financially free. Money's freedom. Money's not happiness, it's freedom. It allows you to live your life the way you want to, so you can enjoy things that make you happy, right? And I'm talking about drinking and stuff. It's cool to go out and drink socially with friends, but when you're spending money at the club and all this other stuff, that's 99% of the world. Be the 1% that controls when they're going to go drink, or controls when they want to like smoke and like just chill out. Don't do it all the time, right? It adds up.
It's a sacrifice you have to make, you know, because it's like eventually it's not paid off. I mean, even like you said, like
have fun one day.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna even have more fun. You're gonna be able to like literally rent a mansion and, you know, spend like a whole week near the beach or something with your friends, and that's gonna be more rewarding, because it's like you're gonna be able to use that even better, because it's like, okay, because it's like that's how they're saying, like, you know, when you're young, like, you think you're having like the best moment of your life. It's just like, this is it. But in reality, you have to understand that you can't limit your mind to like that. This is it, you know, like I have to enjoy everything, you know, because it's like the only time. No. Life life, you will eventually, you know, it's like as you do sacrifice, as you do sacrifice today, it just helps you to get closer to the goal tomorrow. And that reward is gonna be even better because you're gonna be even more stable emotionally, physically, financially. You know, it's like it's about time. It's like giving that extra time. Also, yeah, you said like that $10,000 eventually. I mean, if you have $10,000, you can invest on the market stock. You
Okay.
know, yeah. So it's like you have to, you know, not like the forest. What is it called? Forestry.
Right.
What? Yeah,
Forex.
yeah. So it's like that you do it. I mean, you do it like you know, with like $300 you can get in there and start doing it. But eventually, you know, if you have a good understanding of that, you can eventually move up to like, you know, even a higher level. But it's like you have to have, you know, at least $10,000 to actually get something out of it. You know, that's like okay, like this is good because it's like you're gonna lose throughout the years, but it's like that's how you learn. Like that's the only way that you're gonna learn. Like how can you know how not to throw that ball if you never like, you know, if you never felt, you know what like I mean, like look at what's his name, Michael Jordan. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's what did he say? He said like you're
Off
gonna
his
lose like,
basketball team.
what.
He didn't make his ninth grade basketball team.
Yeah, and look at that. Now he's one of the like the most the world's what's it called, world most famous basketball players. Like he's a legend. Like anybody can, like, you know, if you say their name, they know, you know, right away. Movies based on him and everything. It's like, but it took him, you know, get out of that situation. Like instead
You
of
don't
saying,
realize how
oh,
much work he put in behind it.
yeah,
But
like yeah,
uh,
and then and the fact that he was like he didn't let that discourage him. Like when he didn't make the team, like he really continued and he just got better and better because it was like I'm not stopping here. I This is what makes me happy, so I'm gonna keep pushing and getting better until I succeed at it because I don't see myself doing anything else but this at this moment, you
mhm,
know. And that I that's like I mean we can learn a lot of anybody honestly because it's like everybody is someone, you know, like your world, it's, you know, you have your people, you have, you know, the way that you perceive life, it's completely different and it's based on everything that you do in the daily day. Like, you know, it's like again, you're gonna be famous one day and it's like it's gonna be great to look back and be like, okay, like, you know, like my perspective of life was this, but now this is what it is. And it's like that's also a beautiful thing about acknowledging how you think and how you see things because it's like this is only there's only once in a lifetime because it's like you're not gonna think like that anymore. I mean, you won't be able to understand why you thought like that, but you won't be thinking like that later in the future. You're gonna be thinking greater, you know, and like differently. Like you're gonna be more smart about everything that you do. Now, right now you're smart, but now over there you're gonna be smarter, or you know. So it's like it's awesome to see how we progress and like, you know, I mean, we improve in life because every stage of our life teaches something new and like it makes us understand how not to be in a way, you know, because it's like not, yeah, I mean you already knew how like how kind of person you were and like, you know, what kind of like situations you could have been to and like how to overcome that. So like you already know the failure and because of that you now you know, okay, I know how what's gonna happen if I go, like if I don't do this and I fail in this, and it's like it's gonna be like that. So it's like since I know this, there's no going back. Like I'm not repeating that cycle. You know, you're making decisions based on the past, you know, in a way. And that's good because it's like you, since you understand the past, you're at peace with it and you're not letting it to push you back, but like help you keep going forward, you know, and looking, okay, so my present is, you know, it's this, and I can like understand it and acknowledge, you know, like understand it and fully make decisions based on that because I know what my future is, and that's where making, you know, they like daily and weekly and yearly goals. It's so important because it's like now you know what to do today to make to get to where you want to go tomorrow. You know, and that goes back to based to, you know, the past and stuff. So I know it's kind of cool because it's like the brain works in such a beautiful way because it's like, you know, your way that you think, like you're 26, I'm 21, and it's like it's crazy to think like thankfully I'm able to understand your perspective because I've been in situations just like that, or I've seen people in situations like that, so I can, you know, I can see it, like not only no, and I can only see, I can understand it, like fully understand it. It's beautiful because it's like it brings me back to like, okay, like this is why I remember that so vividly, because it impacted me and it helped me use that person's situation, you know, as a motivation. Because it's like now, because that person was able to do it, I can do it too, you know. And like I'm happy for that person as well, because like wow, like they really did that, you know. Like we, in a way, we all heroes. Like you're a hero, okay? Because you're gonna look back and like tell your grandkids, you know, and your just friends of yours, or like some a friend of yours might tell the story to somebody else, and it's like wow, like you're really already making a mark in the world. Like you're inspiring people without you even know. You know, somebody might be saying, oh yeah, this guy went through that and like he overcome it, I can do that, you know. It's like it's
I
amazing.
think it comes to the point where we just have to be good humans because again, I don't want people to think I've been this most perfect thing. Like there's people I like, I still need to pay back. There's people that I need to fix those bridges with. It'll come. But
Yeah,
I was
your
a really
time.
bad person.
Yeah.
And when you start becoming a good person, everything else falls into place too. Got to make sure you're a good person, good-hearted, genuine. Don't steal. Don't be a thief. Don't rob. Don't kill. Don't do any of these things. You'll be good, and
Yeah.
then keep good mindset because it all has to come together. Because like I don't want I'll never ever want to give off like a wrong vibe because there's people that know me that knows the things that I've done bad. I already beat them to the punch. I know I was that bad person. I knew what I was doing in those situations because I was trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's wrong and it bit me in the ass. Right? It caught up with me. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I'm done. It's time to make a difference. It's time to change. I just want to be happier. So like, and here's the thing about life. When you start doing that, people only remember you as what you used to be. So
Mm-hmm.
as you progress and stuff and you get into these positions, the next time that some of these people will see me, it'll be mind blowing to some people. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think low key it kind of is to a certain extent, but like people will remember you for those bad things because usually what bad outweighs the good for people. That's how people get a perspective. But and I think that's anyone that sees that listen and is listening to this, it's literally it comes down to the point where realize that if you're not a good person, become a good person. Everything else falls into place with the mindset, with doing the things that make you happy, staying consistent, weekly, daily. So it's very important that people understand it. Like I think that would probably be like the moral of the story is I was awful and I wanted to be better. You know, and I think there's nothing that's very important to acknowledge. Acknowledge the bad things. Acknowledge who you used to be and how can you become better. And do
Mm-hmm.
those things. If people still only remember you as that person, don't let them say something and be like, "Oh wow," and make you feel bad. Like understand you're in a better position. You can make things right. So I think that holds importance and value for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people that we're meeting likely actually are going to a situation of like they were bad people and then they're good people, and now they're the best people. You know, it's so crazy because it's like they already, you know, they're already done with that. So it's like they don't even want to even touch that again. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up now. And but thank you again. Was amazing and very inspiring. I am so excited to share with everybody. I'm gonna be posting it on YouTube and Instagram as well. Would you like to give a shout out to your accounts or something, you know?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram is millionaire underscore BOIII. So millionaire underscore boy with three eyes. It's my Instagram, guys. I'm always posting, really good positive things. If anyone needs like kind of motivation sometimes, I'm always posting affirmations, posting real good videos that people, should watch and things of that nature. So and thank you for having me. It's been really great. I love talking to people that, and the potential for people to see this can be good because there's somebody out there that does need to hear this, right? And I love what you're doing because you're getting people on talking about things and realizing that now you have a pattern of all these people with a good mindset. Someone needs to hear somebody, and I'm really thankful that you allowed me to have this opportunity. You brought a lot of value to me, so keep doing what you're doing too. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, guys, I will put the information below, and you guys can go follow me. And also, he's doing the trademark. The what is it? I keep forgetting how to pronounce it. What is it called? A trade.
Uh,
Um,
Foreign exchange
yeah.
market.
Or yes, there we go. So if you guys want to look for a mentor, I will put the link I mean below, and that way you guys can reach him. He's a great mentor. I've been watching him for a few weeks and stuff, and I'm amazed. Like it always inspired me to watch him post things. So I will let you guys know. So stay tuned. Thank you, and we're